Matthias, and welcome to be my guest, the program which brings you successful stories of entrepreneurs and organizations in both domestic and international arenas. I'm Sarosha Ratanapian. And currently we observe various moves in the agricultural sector that address a number of concerns. And in this episode of Be My Guest, we are taking a look at two projects which have been undergoing to address the issue of food security to ASEAN residents. And those are ASEAN Sustainable Agrifood System, or ASEAN SAS. And that of the rice production and rice-based nutrition improvements, and that is Better Rice Initiative Asia, or BRIA. Currently, I am granted an opportunity with Dr. Matthias Bickel, the Project Director of ASEAN Sustainable Agrifood Systems and Better Rice Initiative Asia. Swadika. So first of all, could you introduce yourself a bit to our fans and be my guest?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be around. My name is Matthias Bickel and I work for GIZ, German International Corporation. So we are a German company, non-for-profit, and operate globally in 130 countries, have about 17,000 employees, and support the German government in reaching their international cooperation objectives. Okay.
So talking about the projects that you are undergoing right now, so should we start with the ASEAN SAS?
Yeah, sure.
So what ASEAN SAS is?
Yeah. So we look back to a quite long cooperation, fruitful cooperation with the Thai government. So especially this year is a very special year since we are going to celebrate our 60th anniversary, meaning that on 9th of October 1956 we have signed the first Thai-German technical cooperation agreement. As regards agriculture, that was really taken on in the 1960s, 65, so we had the first projects in the agricultural field in the 60s and continue to do so. So in 2011 the German government, more precisely the Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, they have granted a project to ASEAN, which is called ASEAN Sustainable Agri-Food Systems. And Thailand is hosting this project on behalf of ASEAN.
I see, okay. So what will be the objectives, or what are the objectives of ASEAN SAS?
Yeah. The overall objective of ASEAN Sustainable Agri-Food Systems is to support the ASEAN member states, so that is to say the Ministries of Agriculture and the ASEAN Secretariat, in promoting and transforming the regional agricultural policies towards an implementation level in the various 10 member states.
Ah, okay, I see. So that means right now, so this project is starting in Thailand first, as a first start, or not?
Well, no, as I said, we have been around since 2011, so now we are halfway through the second phase, so to say.
Okay.
So the first phase was from 2011 to 2013, and the second one from 2014 to 17, so we have another 1.5 years to go, and there will most likely be a third phase, so to say.
Ah, okay, I see. So right now that means you're in the second phase of this project.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so could you tell us a bit about the phase one, or what you have undergone, in undergoing ASEAN SAS?
Yeah. I mean, starting from the overall objective and ASEAN, so let me talk a little bit about ASEAN as well. So I guess you're very much familiar with ASEAN. It was also a stepping stone, 1st of January this year, when the ASEAN Economic Community came into place and practice. So what does that mean? That means that ASEAN is now one community, and all the trade barriers, so the tariff barriers and non-tariff barriers should not be there anymore, and moving towards one community with one customs tariff. So that means to say that the various member states will hopefully trade more with each other. And in this regard, the ASEAN Secretariat and ASEAN has come up with a series of regional policies. So first and foremost the ASEAN Economic Community Blueprint, as well as the Food, Agriculture and Forestry Vision 2025. And there are given some recommendations how to shape sustainable agri-food sectors, and we support the member states, including Thailand, in reaching this kind of objective. And Thailand has taken up the task of hosting this regional initiative here at the Department of Agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives, Kastsat University.
I see. Okay. And regarding the activities then in each phase, so what are, I believe that there are 3 major components, in each phase that you have been undergoing already.
Yeah, that is true. So we have started in 2011 with a project that was called ASEAN Biocontrol for Sustainable Agri-Food Systems, and there we have really concentrated on promoting integrated pest management and biocontrol measures throughout the country. So the various issue here is, I'm pretty sure everybody asks themselves the question, what kind of food we would really like to consume. And by following principles given in an integrated pest management approach, tentatively the residues in the food production goes down, the food becomes safer, more nutritious, and that is actually the overall that was the overall objective of the first phase, to also enable the member states to follow that kind of route. In 2014 we have then broadened our services, also embracing additional topics beyond integrated pest management, which is integrated soil and nutrient management. So the soil, of course, is also of utmost importance when it comes to agriculture, and also farm economics. Since by introducing new technologies, of course, it needs to be seen what kind of technology is superior to the others. So that is then put in a curricula, and farmers and policymakers are then trained accordingly. Regarding components, so we have 3 different work fields, if you want to say so. So the first work field component is policy. So here we support the ASEAN Secretariat and the member states in transforming the regional policies to national policies. So for instance, there is a food, agriculture, forestry policy in place where all the 10 member states and the ministers of agriculture have agreed upon, and that needs to be implemented on national level as well. So we support the various member states in this regard. Then also when it comes to sector-specific or crop-specific measures, we have formed a regional expert group on biocontrol experts and also soil and nutrient experts. So they come together and they have agreed on a guideline what needs to be done in the sector in the 10 member states. So we also support implementing that kind of regional guideline.
And that has been the second component of implementation of production technologies, and that's also market linkages, I believe, that you provide as well in this project. In order to make all our endeavors and the successes of the farmers sustainable, that could only be done in a system where the farmers really have market access, meaning where they can really buy their, really sell their products and sustain their services even without us, the service providers, being around. So they need to be linked to in the field of rice farmers, to rice mills, for instance, so that sustainable supply chain is being set up, and the farmers can then on a constant basis sell their high quality products to the mills directly. So what about the expected outcome? So what do you expect from this project? So from this project, so until 2011 we have managed already to count the results, so to say. So with €1 invested by the German government, we were able to bring into the project activities another €1, so that makes it 2 of public investment. Wow.
With these €2 of public investment, we have generated another €4 of additional income. So by counting all the farmers we have tackled so far, which is roughly 40,000, we've managed to generate an additional income for the farmers amounting to 50 million net profits over 5 years in 10 countries.
Wow, okay. So what about regarding, challenges and difficulties, do you experience or encounter any challenges at all in encountering this project?
The agriculture faces a lot of challenges. I mean, first of all, there are global trends which come as a huge challenge, be it severe weather events, climate change is happening, so there's a lot of pressure regarding the natural resource base. That means soil is being contaminated, water scarcity, floods and droughts. I'm pretty sure you are very well experienced in this regard here in Thailand with regard to floods and droughts. So all these form a lot of challenges for sure. And then the time frame is also key. That is to say, we only work commissioned by, on the basis of commissions by the Federal Republic of Germany, and usually these kinds of projects come in 3, 4, 5-year phases. But working with a lot of smallholders, this is very particular, and of course it takes quite some effort to reach out to 10,000 or even 100,000 farmers at the same time within a given time span. So it's the amount of smallholders being in one sector, as well as the global trends affecting the production base.
Okay.
So these are two major challenges I see.
I see, okay. And one of the last question here of this break is, after this project, okay, of ASEAN SAS, so do you plan to have other future projects in order to, promote food security in ASEAN continent?
So this decision will be taken by the German government, more precisely the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. This is our main sponsor, and they in turn agree with ASEAN on certain projects. So we hope very much that this will not be the last phase in the agricultural sector supporting the Thai government and ASEAN, but hope also for a third phase to be then continued our activities until the end of 2020.
Okay, so we look forward to seeing more success from ASEAN SAS. But for now, it's time for a short break. Right back, we learn more about another project which is called Better Rice Initiative Asia or BRIA. So please stay tuned on Be My Guest.
ASEAN countries has been known as the kitchen of the world. We produce food for people in our region and for the world. Food, I mean rice, vegetable and fruit. But it's not about the amount of food that we produce. It's about the quality of the food. Whether the food is safe enough to eat. Whether the poor can get the food at the affordable price as well as the rich. This is the ASEAN Sustainable Agri-Food System is trying to do. And in the respect that we have to respect the nature and the environment.
Well, actually, I'm so glad about this project. As you know that rice is a very important crop in this region, as most people consume rice as the staple food. As you know that we have a lot of farmers, so we believe that any project that intends to help raise the livelihoods of farmers would benefit the country at large. Definitely this project aims to promote sustainable rice production. Especially we work in collaboration with the rice department to help farmers to grow rice in a sustainable manner. Hopefully the project will be able to attract young farmers. We believe that as it is, our farmers are very old. So if we can attract young farmers, we can definitely contribute to the regional food security. And we also believe that by implementing this kind of project, as you know that BRIA is a public and private partnership, we hope that in the future both public and private partners can work closely together to benefit poor farmers, which definitely will contribute to both our economic and social development.
So welcome back to the program, and now you're watching Be My Guest, and I'm Sarosha Ratanapian. And currently I'm still with Dr. Matthias Bickel, the project director of ASEAN SAS and BRIA. And in the last break, have told us about ASEAN SAS already and how, you know, the GIZ will create food security in the region of Southeast Asia. Now, could you focus more a bit about another project, okay, which you, own as a project director actually, which is BRIA?
Yeah, thank you very much. Pleasure to do so. So the Better Rice Initiative Asia, in very short, is Better Rice, Better Life. So that is a public-private partnership which has been commenced in 2013 in Thailand, in Indonesia, in the Philippines and in Vietnam. And what we try to do is to tackle about 30,000 smallholders and enable them to produce better rice. 10,000 of them being in Thailand with our partners, government partners, most and prominently the Thai Rice Department here in Thailand, Ministry of Agriculture and Agricultural Cooperatives, as well as with corporate partners like Olam International or Bayer here in Thailand.
Okay, so talking about different organizations that are cooperating and doing this project, so what is or what are the responsibility of GIZ in this project?
So the responsibilities of GIZ is really a facilitating one. That is to say, we bring together the right partners. As I said, it's a public-private partnerships. So on the private side, Bayer, BASF, Olam, also millers and farmers. On the public side, the Thai Rice Department. And what we do is we bring them together and really determine common objectives, and then enable the farmers to come up with a higher quality of rice, a better production, and ultimately gaining more income and enjoying a better life.
I see. Okay. So what have been the problems, of rice in the first phase, in order to make this project at first?
Well, in Thailand you have about 6 million farmers, 4 million in the rice sector. So Thai rice farmers very heavily depend on rice as a commodity for sure. So that is the first point. Then secondly, also the Thai rice farmers expect a lot of subsidies from the government, since historically the government, if I may say so, has also provided a lot of subsidies, public investment in this regard. And that has turned the economic approach into an approach of waiting to get support from the government. What we need to do is, I think we need a more economic system, a more market-based system, where the farmers really tackle their profession more in economic terms. So seeing their farming as a business, becoming agripreneurs. As well, the average Thai farmer is 57 years old, so certainly in a couple of years we will face some shortages, since the young generation does not really get engaged anymore. So that means to say, joint efforts needs to be undertaken in order to really engage the young generation and to show them that rice farming in particular, could indeed be a profitable business. Okay,
and this current situation is also observed in other countries as well, such as Indonesia, Malaysia or the Philippines?
Yes, certainly yes. I mean, the situation is a little bit different, since you have surplus countries, exporting countries like Thailand and Vietnam, and then countries which are not yet self-sufficient, like Indonesia and the Philippines. So the issues and challenges are slightly different, for sure. Indonesia and Philippines, they try to become self-sufficient as soon as possible. And accordingly need to come up with different measures. So in Indonesia, for instance, the Indonesian government, they consider in certain regions to ban the consumption of rice 1 day per week.
Wow.
Just to give you a glimpse of idea what is really happening in the sector and in the region. Okay,
so that means the approach, that you have undergone in each country is different then?
Yeah, but what is not different is our approach towards education and curriculum. So every single country is meant to implement so-called good agricultural practices. That is a set of agricultural practices which the farmer is being trained with. And here in Thailand, we are really proud, as a forerunner with the rice department, to implement the so-called Sustainable Rice Platform Standard. That is the first sustainable standard in rice globally, and the Thai government has already on a pilot basis adopted the implementation of the standard in the frame of Thai Rice Gap Plus. What does that mean? That means that Thai rice farmer, probably towards the end of November, after harvesting time in the northeast, will be one of the very few and first ones having produced the first sustainably produced rice bag globally.
Okay, I see. Okay, so as you mentioned previously that Thailand is the major exporter okay, of rice to the world, and when you mentioned about Northeast province, okay, that have been joining the project right now. So could you tell us specifically, where it is?
Yeah, it is in Ubon Ratchathani, Sisikat, Royat, so in the northeast, and there we cooperate with the Community Rice Center, which is part of the rice department, and also join forces heavily with our private partners BRIA, BASF and Olam International.
Okay.
So the sourcing strategy, Olam International is one of the biggest rice traders globally, is to source Homali rice, which will be certified soon, sustainably certified from the northeast in Thailand.
And do farmers have to adapt themselves a lot in order to be able, to create a very good standard and high standard of rice?
Yeah, you talk about the switching cost. I mean, the Thai farmers are very clever and smart, I have to admit. So it's not enough to go there and tell them what to do. That kind of approach does not work. But literally, they need to see what is really in for them. How difficult it will be, how much more labor they would have to put into additional superior systems, and then to wait for one harvest to really assess what kind of resources, money they have in their pockets at the end of the day. So that's really decisive. But what is crucial for the entire system is that the Sustainable Rice Platform Standard is really geared towards not only capturing economic benefits but also environmental and social benefits, embracing various levels of sustainability.
Okay, and currently in your opinion, so do these farmers or 10,000 agriculturists in Thailand are aware of the sustainability, development of that rice quality?
Yes and no. Of course, they first and foremost look at the quality standard of the mill they sell their rice to. So that is most importantly. That is also the reason why we closely cooperate not only with farmers but also with the millers, the traders, and also the brand owners. So they are increasingly getting aware of sustainable production in rice and the sustainability standard, the SRP standard. SRP is multi-stakeholder initiative which has been initiated by United Nations Environmental Programme and the International Rice Research Institute, and now has more than 50 members, and really takes up the implementation, application of the standard as a global challenge.
Okay, and one of the last questions, any final goal or aim for this project?
Yeah. We think that this kind of objective can only be successfully tackled in a very strong public-private partnership. So that is to say, we as GIZ, we come in with a very strong facilitating role of bringing together public and private players. So from the public side, so that is very clear and transparent, but of course at the same time you also need the right private players like the farmers, the millers, like commodity traders like Olam International, for instance, to really sustain the rice supply chain and enable the farmers to come up with superior practices so that they produce a higher quality of rice on a more sustainable basis, and that more safe and nutritious food is being produced in Thailand and the region for the next years to come. Okay,
and last but not least, any final note for our viewers?
Yeah, public-private partnership. So I have to say there is a saying I think Bill Gates came up with. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that is actually what captures it all. So we need the right player in the system supporting the endeavor of jointly moving towards a more sustainable agri-food and more sustainable rice system in Thailand, in Asia and globally.
Okay, and this is ASEAN SAS and also BRIA. Okay, and thank you very much for your time today. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you very much.
Further two projects of ASEAN SAS and BRIA directly address the issue of quality of lives of ASEAN residents by enhancing the income situation and the nutritional situation of poor households and providing long-term solution of food security in the region through sustainable agricultural strategies and policies. For more information, you can log on to www.thai-german-cooperation.info. But that's all the time we have for Be My Guest this week. Thank you very much for watching us and tuning in. For more information, you can log on to thainewsrprd.go.th/en. And I'm Sarosha Ratanapian. สวัสดีค่ะ